Hello YouTube! Once again, this is your poster child for overactive brain disorder, and this is a Kitchen Table Apologist production. I'm continuing the Game Director series, and this time talking about the Trinity. So when last we left our intrepid adventure, I had discussed how perfection is applicable to my definition of God as an outside intelligence capable of acting within the world. Now, Orthodox Christians have another belief as part of their creeds, which is the Trinity. And so, this will discuss what is the Trinity, and can my definition even accommodate that? Now, this is not here to prove that the Trinity is real. That can come later if the need arises. It will not be part of the Game Director series, but it will be on this channel, Kitchen Table Apologist. This series, the Game Director series, only examines whether my definition can handle the concept of the Trinity. So, to say that it handles the concept means one of two things. It can either mean that the definition mandates that the concept exist, or that the definition does not rule out the concept. And in this case, I will argue that the definition does not rule out the Trinity as an explanation, or as a definition of God. So now, what is the Trinity? Of course, if I'm going to say that it fits my definition, I've got to explain what it is. Well, the Trinity doctrine is basically several doctrinal statements all put together into a single entity, and asserting that all of them are true at the same time. One is monotheism, that there is only one true God. The other thing is that this God is multi-personal, that there are three persons who are eligible and basically entitled to the title of God: Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And that these persons are co-equal and co-eternal. That even though these persons have different roles and they have a hierarchy within them, they are equal in power and all eternal. Basically, they've all been around forever and will continue to be around, long. Now, the individual tenets, to say, if we were just asserting one of these statements, it would not be a problem to fit into the definition. Say monotheism, okay. To say we've got gods, and to say there's monotheism is to say there's only one of these gods. So, no big deal. We get to multi-personal thing, saying that there are multiple persons capable of affecting change. Again, not a problem. I've already said that there could be multiple gods within a same thing. Co-equal. Persons have equal power to affect change. Yeah, okay, not a big deal. Say that all of these persons can, have full reign of the show. That's not a big deal. And co-eternal. Any agent is eternal by my thing, because it's like, okay, if you're capable of affecting change from outside, you can do it at any point within the timeline, and so there is no point at which you can't. No point at which these agents could not affect change. So, the question is, can all of these be true at once? So now we come to the thing of, what does it mean to be a multi-personal being? Okay, we don't have an actual earthly equivalent to this, so it's going to be kind of hard. No actual analogy is going to cover all parts, but you can try to summarize parts of it with analogies, which I'll be doing at various points throughout this. So, we need to know what a person is. A person is something with an independent will. Basically, if you can say, well, I wish something to be done, but another person in there would say, well, I wish it not to be done. That would be demonstrating independent will. Also, it'd be distinguishable by pronoun. With your, I talk to you, I'm obviously not you. If I talk about, well, here's what I'm doing, here's what you are doing, or here's what he is doing, different persons. So, when we talk about a being, we talk about an actual instrument of change. Now, so it's kind of hard because we as things, have a one person per being kind of limit here. God, the assertion is that God is one being with three persons, that there's one instrument of change, this would be God, but there are three persons, basically three independent wills that that are distinguished, where one could say, well, I am asking him to send you or whatever, and basically separable in the sense that it's clearly not talking to themselves. So what we need to know is if the definition can handle it. Of course, there's also the assertion of being co-equal. Okay, to make this happen, you can put all this in, we need three persons outside of the world, all with equal power, but united in such a way as to justify saying that they are one being. Basically, this would be from the viewpoint of the world's residents. If the world's residents could, identify it as one being, one instrument, agent, etc. of change, then, that would be one, but with three persons, each with an independent will, making the decisions through this one instrument, you'd have three persons in one being. Again, there's no earthly equivalent on this thing, but we're going to try to come close. And this does not rule out the idea of a hierarchy of authority within the persons. But they would still be co-equal. To kind of give you a little bit of an idea of this, let's take a look. You might have a company with an owner and a CEO and a president, all separate people within the company. But they could be equal authority within that company, even though, maybe the CEO and the president defer to the owner in 99% of the cases. But say the CEO walks in, sees somebody blatantly, abusing their power or position within the company, whatever. CEO just basically goes, "Hey, you're fired. Get out of here." The person is just as fired as if the owner does it or the president does it. He's just as gone, just as out of a job, etc. If one of them signs a check, then basically the money comes out of the company funds. It doesn't really matter which one does it. Now, in many cases, they're probably going to set up a thing where one or two of them will defer to someone else in most cases, but that does not, in and of itself, rule out co-equal authority. Now, I'm going to try to put another example up here. Again, nothing's perfect, but I'll try to make it as close as I can. If you get three humans writing a screenplay, now maybe each one can add, delete, or alter what that script is. What's in there. One person can go into the file, edit out a line, add in a line, whatever. And and the only way to affect the product is through the script. Basically, the story changes and is controlled from these outside agents through the script. In this case, the one being would be the script, the actual one final script from which people go off and do this play or movie or whatever it is they're doing the screenplay for. Now, there are three persons, three writers, who are part of this, but in the end, there is only one being, one means of actually affecting the story. Now, the relationship is presumably co-equal in the sense that if any one of them changes it, the story's changed. And the relationship of being co-equal, is unchanged even if one is the lead writer. They've just agreed that for the most part we're going to run through this one, but if there's an actual typo or mistake or something like that, or major plot hole, any of them can fix it. Now, eternal in this case is basically these three writers have basically been around through the thing, can make changes at any point in it. Make the comparison and get it all done. We we've got God. God in this thing is the means by which this world is affected from the outside. And the fact that there's one God means that there would only be one such mechanism. And with three persons, we'd have three, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, all with access to this mechanism. Now, whether they all use it or not, that's a different story. They are co-equal in the sense that anything that any one of them does will affect the world. There is also a hierarchy. Basically, the Son submits to the Father, and the Spirit sent by the Father at the request of the Son. We understand that, but they are still co-eternal in the sense that all of them affect any part of the world at any time, in any time. Now, I'd like to make another comment on the whole equality thing. Just think about this. Which weighs more? I'm going to put up two things. 1 pound of gold or 1 pound of feathers? Which of these weighs more? Probably looking at me kind of strange and saying, well, of course they're equal weight. You got 1 pound of one and 1 pound of the other. All well and good. Now, which is greater? Now, we just answered that. Well, not necessarily. Yeah. Gold is worth more, and thus you consider the gold to be greater than the feathers. I mean, you'd rather have the gold, right? You don't, unless you're one of these people who does a lot of craft work with feathers. Well, maybe you'd want the pound of feathers, but I don't know. Would you give up a pound of gold for it? So far, my definition has covered various things up through perfection and now into this Trinity thing. The definition does not mandate a Trinity, but it does allow for one. And all aspects of the Trinity are explainable as possible within the definition, even together. So while this does not directly address whether the Christian God is a Trinity, defining him as such doesn't run counter to my definition of God, which is basically all I really wanted to demonstrate here today. So, thank you for watching again, and until we meet again, enjoy.